Hello everyone, welcome in to the Cardinals recap for week 3 of the NFL season. I'm currently wearing my Arizona Diamondbacks gear today to somehow will the Arizona Diamondbacks in their final 6 games, being only 1 game out of the wild card spot, to make it to the playoffs somehow this year. But I'm sure that somehow, someway, the Mets will make sure that doesn't happen. As for the Cardinals though, we had an incredibly disappointing game against the 49ers. In fact, this is the first time I can display true pain to you guys. Watching a game with such little offense the whole time, but the defense holds up until the final drive when they actually needed to hold up the most. We end up losing a 16-15 game. It's not like losing 34-33. You only scored 15 points. And it was quite a weird scoring line for the Cardinals today. Back-to-back field goals, a touchdown, and a safety. Kyler Murray in 35 pass attempts only completed 22 of those passes for only 159 yards, and it seemed like he was afraid to throw downfield most of the game. But one of the biggest issues for the Cardinals was that when he would find someone open downfield, it didn't seem like anybody was able to catch the ball. Marvin Harrison dropped at least 2 wide open passes in today's game. The game started out pretty slow, a pretty big defensive struggle on both sides of the ball, with devastating injuries coming to Nick Bosa of the 49ers, who is going to have season-ending ACL surgery. Looking at the play, I honestly didn't think it was that bad. I thought that he would end up coming back into the game, or I thought he'd come back in a week or two. But apparently the ACL got torn, and whenever that happens, it's usually season over. But that wasn't the only devastating injury in the game, and while I feel bad about Nick Bosa's injury, that gave the Cardinals a big opportunity to maybe have some more offensive production. You can't have as much offensive production though when a guy like James Conner also suffers a devastating injury. Looking at the Conner injury, it's a very bad looking injury. Shield your eyes if you don't want to see it. He gets hit on the outside of his leg as he's twisting down and backwards to the ground. They're reporting that this is a severe ankle injury to James Conner. This is just a devastating injury for the Cardinals offense because all they have now is Trey Benson and Amari DeMercado in the backfield, and DeMercado showed in that game that he was not capable of catching a pass out of the backfield, and he also was not able to get any sort of momentum in the running game. So it was all Trey Benson having to do everything on his own. So since Conner unfortunately is going to miss out for the rest of the season, I could see the Cardinals signing a veteran running back or making a trade for a running back to try to fill the void a little bit, because Trey Benson isn't going to be able to do this all on his own. Anyways, prayers up to James Conner for a speedy recovery, and hopefully this is not a career-ending injury. He is such an inspiring player to me, overcoming stage 2 Hodgkin's lymphoma, and his NFL story is one of the best that you'll ever see, so I hope he makes a speedy recovery. After it being 6-6 for so long, the 49ers finally got a touchdown to Juszczyk in the end zone, who ended up being wide open on another blown coverage by the Cardinals. How many times you guys got to do this every single week? It's every single week! I literally called out last week when the Cardinals allowed a Panthers receiver to be open in the flat and get a wide open touchdown. Well, pretty much the same route was run this time by Juszczyk, and they ended up getting a touchdown for free on the left side of the field this time, and Budda Baker was the guy who was assigned to him and somehow didn't cover him. We're just really nice, us Arizona Cardinals, you know? We just like handing away some free touchdowns, and it's so frustrating because you play a really good game of defense and then you allow free touchdowns like it's candy. It's not Halloween yet, Cardinals. You can't hand out free candy. After this, the Cardinals were in a difficult position as they needed to come back in this game, and this time they needed to get a touchdown. Field goals aren't going to cut it anymore. Not to mention Ryland had missed his first kick of the day even though it was over 50 yards. Touchdown was what we needed, and that's exactly what we got as Kyler Murray found Trey McBride in the back of the end zone. But along the way, Marvin Harrison dropped what was probably one of his best chances at a big long touchdown so far this season, and he didn't really have a defender right on him. He just defended himself and made himself drop the pass. He was his own worst enemy in this game, and I really am not sure what to think about Marvin Harrison Jr. right now, because he had another absolutely diabolical drop. The only thing positive I can take out of this is that he at least took accountability for his lousy game, and he said he's got to do better, and I think a lot of people on the offense have to do better. The Cardinals then got lucky with a holding call that was a little bit sus to me because it didn't look like it was a holding call in the end zone. It looked more like holding outside of the end zone. But alas, the Niners got called for holding in the end zone, which is a safety, giving the Cardinals their first lead of the day and making it 15-13, and giving them the ball back with about 3 minutes left. This is where good teams decide that they want to win the game and put it away. And as much criticism so far as I've given Kyler Murray and his tenure with the Cardinals, and while he did have several passes batted down again this week, which is getting really old at this point, this one wasn't on him. He laid a pass into Zay Jones that should have been caught 9 times out of 10. Unfortunately, this was the 1 out of 10 that he decided to drop. You're a receiver in the NFL and you can't catch this pass. That's not a good look for you. This was on 3rd down with about about a minute and 42 seconds left in the game. A catch here pretty much seals the deal because San Francisco only had one timeout left. So I can't stop getting past the fact that he just could not make that catch. On top of this, the Cardinals defense, which had played beautifully all day long, ended up allowing their worst drive of the game, and I think this is partially on the defensive coordinator. You should not be running a prevent defense unless you are up by more than a field goal, and with the Cardinals only being up 2, they were not up by more than a field goal. Prevent defense allows a lot of quick passes, a lot of quick dump offs that get 5 to 10 yards of play because you're trying to prevent the touchdown. But we weren't trying to prevent a touchdown. We were trying to prevent a field goal. We should have stayed in the same defense we were playing the entire game because that was working really well. But the Niners rushed straight down the field in about a minute, and then even though the Niners have had a lot of kicking woes so far this year, they called on Pinheiro, one of the most reliable kickers in the NFL. He's no Jake Moody, to come on and kick the game-winning field goal, and to my dismay, he nailed it fairly easily. In a week where there were 5 blocked field goals, the Cardinals were not one of the teams that was able to do that. So we end up losing an absolutely nauseating 16-15 game, and I get to feel pain with you for the first time as a Cardinals fan.
So I figured it out. My hot dogs come in packages of 10 and hot dog buns come in packages of 8. See, the thing is that life doesn't always work out according to plans, so be happy with what you got. So you can always get a hot dog.
It's an honor to be here with you for the first time, and I'm sure we're going to get many more. As a Cardinals fan for a long time, I've experienced losing on a scale that most of you fans of other teams could never believe.
Roethlisberger has time, throws to the back of the end zone, and it is caught for a touchdown.
So I think this season and a lot of seasons going forward, we're going to have a very fun and magical time figuring out all the fancy ways we can talk about new Cardinals losses. I don't know about any of you other Cardinals fans watching this video, but I think I'm already sick of Drew Petzing's offense. Kyler Murray has proven that he has an ability to throw the ball downfield, generally with pretty good accuracy when you give him the opportunity to do it. And I don't know if there were plays being called up where he just was too nervous to throw the ball downfield, or if he was just not getting any opportunities, because it wasn't until late in the game that he actually started throwing the ball deep downfield. And if Marvin Harrison didn't have butter for fingers, the Cardinals would have won today's game. Look, it's not a total disaster by any means, but it is still a very disappointing loss. This Cardinals team has more potential than teams I've seen over the last few years. If they can quit being their own worst enemy, they might be able to have a successful season. And when we play the Seahawks on Thursday, I am very concerned with how the Seahawks have played the last 2 games, that the Cardinals are going to get absolutely mollywopped on Thursday Night Football, especially if they have as timid of play calling as they did on offense in this game. But I guess until then, I'll just have to be devastated and then wait and see. Of course, thank you so much for checking out today's video. Be sure you stick around after the game on Thursday, or check out Friday morning when I upload my very next video, the second ever video of Cardinals fans react during the game. My first one's currently doing really well right now, over 500 views already, so thank you to those of you who have watched that video. I was trying something new, didn't know how it would go, and I think it's going to be a really good thing to do. I've seen guys like Scooter Magruder do it for the Cowboys, and no one really does it for the Cardinals, so as a Cardinals fan, I thought it will go ahead and be my duty to take that mantle for all of you so I can express the Cardinals fans' frustration for all of us. Until a day or 2 from now when I get to upload the NFL Week 3 recap, my name is Ryan, and this is KindaAskewSports, and I'll see you in my next video. And stick around for that because we got a lot to talk about Week 3. Whoop-ah! See you later.